The journey to fluency. What if I told you there's a map to fluency, and most learners never see it? Stay with me because by the end you'll know the exact path. Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Fluent English Journey. I'm Tom, and today I want to invite you on a trip. Not just any trip, the one almost every English learner dreams about. The trip from being a complete beginner to finally speaking English with real confidence and fluency. Now, I get asked all the time, Tom, what's the best way to learn English? Should I start with grammar? Should I focus on vocabulary? Should I just watch movies or dive into conversations as much as possible? These are all excellent questions. But here's the truth. If you try to learn everything at the same time, you'll probably feel lost, overwhelmed, and maybe even ready to quit. And that's the danger. Confusion kills motivation faster than mistakes ever will. That's why today I'm going to give you something different. I'm going to show you a clear path, step by step, a natural order that will take you from your very first words in English all the way to advanced fluency. And to make it simple, let's use a picture. Imagine you're building a house. You can't live in the house until the foundation is strong. You can't decorate the house until the walls are up. And you can't enjoy the roof until everything underneath it can hold. Learning English works exactly the same way. And by the end, you'll see how every part of this house connects. Step 1, the foundation. Every strong speaker starts here, even if nobody sees it. Every house starts with a foundation. If the ground underneath is soft or shaky, the whole structure will eventually fall. The same is true for your English. So, what is the foundation of English? It's not complicated grammar. It's not essays or textbooks. The foundation is a small set of simple survival words and phrases, the kind that let you handle daily life. Imagine you land in an English-speaking country. You step off the plane, walk into a cafe, and want to order a drink. What do you need? You don't need long, perfect sentences. You don't need academic grammar. You just need something simple, like, I want water, please, or coffee, please. Later, you're walking down the street, and you're lost. You want to find the train station. Again, you don't need to sound like Shakespeare. Just say, where's the station? Or where's the bus? Clear, direct, easy. That's your foundation. It's about words like eat, go buy, and phrases like, how much? Or can you help me? You don't need thousands of words at this stage. In fact, research shows that with just 500 to 1,000 of the most common words, you can already handle a surprising amount of everyday English. Enough to eat, shop, ask for help, and answer simple questions. Forget about perfection. Don't worry whether you should use the present perfect or the past simple. Don't worry about speaking fast. That comes later. For now, your only job is to build that solid ground with the most important words and the simplest patterns. And something magical happens when you do. Suddenly, English stops looking like a giant mountain you'll never climb. It becomes something you can actually use, something alive. And when it feels alive, the next step gets exciting. Repetition, your best friend. Now you might ask, Tom, how do I actually build this foundation? The answer is simple: repetition. Repetition is your best friend at this stage. Listen to the same simple dialogues again and again. Repeat them slowly and carefully until they feel natural. Say them out loud, every day. Try a technique called shadowing that means listening to a sentence and speaking at the same time, almost like you're an echo. Yes, it feels a little strange in the beginning, but it's powerful. Because every repetition makes your brain and your mouth work together. And don't be afraid of mistakes. Mistakes are not your enemy. Mistakes are proof you are building. They show you're practicing, stretching, growing. If you avoid mistakes, you avoid progress. So if you're at the beginning of your English journey, this is your focus. Don't rush. Build your foundation steady and strong. Because once that foundation is solid, everything else, grammar, vocabulary, fluency, can stand tall on top of it. Just like a house, without the ground, nothing stands. Step 2, the structure. Ready? This is where fluency starts to feel real. Okay, let's go back to our house. The foundation is there, the solid. But can you live on a bare slab of concrete? Of course not. No walls, no roof, no windows. You'd be sleeping outside. That's why the next step is building the structure, the walls that rise above the foundation and give the house its shape. And that's exactly what happens with your English. Once you've got your basic survival words and phrases, it's time to add more. At this stage, you begin to expand your vocabulary. You start adding grammar. You practice making longer sentences that are richer and more flexible. Maybe in the beginning you could only say, I go to the market. That's good. It's functional, but it's not enough. Life isn't just about the present moment. You'll need to talk about yesterday, about tomorrow, about what's happening right now. So instead of only saying, I go to the market, you can now say, I went to the market yesterday. Or, I'm going to the market tomorrow. Or, I'm at the market right now. See the difference? You're no longer just surviving. You're starting to live in English. And this is where conversations stop feeling like fear and start feeling like freedom. So once you've got that strong foundation, it's time to raise the walls. And this is where things start to get exciting. Suddenly, your world in English is no longer stuck in one moment. Do you see what's happening here? You're no longer trapped in the present. You can move backwards into the past, forward into the future, and stay grounded in the present. That's the power of building the structure of your English. Suddenly, you're not just surviving, you're starting to travel in time with language. Balance, input and output. But here's something important. At this stage, balance becomes the key. Balance between input and output. Without balance, your English either starves or stands still. Think of input, listening and reading, as food for your brain. Without food, you can't grow. But if you only eat and never move, your body becomes weak. Output, speaking and writing, is the movement. It's how you use that energy. But if you only speak and write without input, you just repeat the same small set of words again and again. You don't grow. That's why you need both. You must feed your brain and you must train your brain. And there's one technique that glues input and output together. How to balance. So how do you do this? Easy. Listen to podcasts like this one every single day. Read short stories, news articles, or even simple dialogues in textbooks. Then use what you just learned. Write 3 or 4 sentences about your day. Call a friend and share one new thing. And here's where shadowing really shines. Shadowing is not just repeating words. It's training your mouth, tongue, ears, and brain to move together like a team. Start by listening to a sentence and repeating it slowly. Then a little faster. Eventually, you'll match the natural rhythm of the speaker. At first, it feels mechanical. But then, something beautiful happens. The sentences stop sounding foreign. They start feeling natural. That's the magic. English stops being schoolwork and starts being muscle memory. That's when English stops being a school subject. It starts being alive inside you. Be patient with the walls. But remember, walls are not built in a single day. You build them brick by brick. The same is true for your English. Add a few new words every day. Practice new tenses. Listen a lot. Speak a little more each time. Slowly, you'll look around and realize your house is no longer a flat foundation. The walls are rising. The shape of your English is visible. And the more you listen, the more you'll hear the natural rhythm and music of English. The ups and downs, the way sentences connect, the way expressions flow. Without even trying, they become part of you. Just like walls built brick by brick. You won't notice the progress day to day, but one day you'll look up and see a house. The frustration stage. Now, let me pause and warn you about something. At this stage, many learners feel frustrated. They understand quite a lot. They can read books, follow podcasts, even have conversations with friends. But when they speak, they still make mistakes. They forget words. Their sentences aren't perfect. And they start thinking, maybe my English isn't good enough. My friend, let me tell you the truth. Mistakes here are not a sign of weakness. They're a sign of growth. If you can tell a story in English, even with mistakes, you're already further than most learners ever go. The real danger isn't mistakes. It's silence. Don't hide from your mistakes. Wear them proudly. They're the proof that you're using English, not just studying it. Step 3. The decorations. Now comes the part that makes your English shine. So what comes after the walls? You decorate. You make the house beautiful. This is when you start working on your pronunciation. Not just what you say, but how you say it. You learn the rhythm of English, the music of intonation, the way native speakers link words together. For example, instead of carefully saying every word, "What do you want to do?" you start flowing, "What do you want to do?" Small details, but they make you sound natural, not robotic. Your vocabulary also grows bigger, often reaching 8,000 words or more. But here's the difference: you're no longer memorizing words for tests. You're learning them naturally from novels, podcasts, and real conversations. These words stick because they're connected to real experiences. And grammar? By this point, grammar isn't something you stop and think about. You don't pause and ask yourself, should I say I went or I have been? The right form just comes. It feels automatic, like walking. You don't think about moving your legs, you just walk. That's when English isn't outside of you anymore. It's inside you. It becomes part of who you are. And that's the moment you stop studying English and start living English. Step 4. Living in the house. This is fluency, the stage everyone dreams about. So let's step back. The journey looks like this. Build the foundation with simple survival words and grammar. Build the structure with more vocabulary and balanced practice. Add the decorations, natural pronunciation, idioms, advanced grammar. Finally, live in the house. Live in English with fluency. And the most important rule? Don't rush. Don't try to skip steps. Walk slowly, patiently. Every step prepares you for the next. Just like every house, we don't move in before the roof is ready. Closing. Thank you so much for joining me today. If this lesson helped you, make sure you subscribe, share it with a friend, and listen again tomorrow. And remember, learn slowly, learn daily, and fluency will come. Tell me, what step of the house are you building right now? Subscribe, because the next episode will give you tools to decorate your English even more. I'm Tom, and this is Fluent English Journey. See you next time, my friends.